What's the D? Ugh, I can never get my bangs to like really do what it needs to. So hey y'all. So today on the toy box, oh these nails catch on. So I want to talk about. I know in my other video I was discussing kind of like a little bit of like the run through of um, zodiac or the rising signs, but actually today I want to give you guys a, because the thing about me is like I'm a very, let me fix my camera. Okay, so today I want to talk about random observations in astrology. So for those of you who don't know anything about me, I don't give out my sun sign because I know there's a lot of people on the internet who are just focused on trying to, attack. My moon is in Libra. My rising sign is Aquarius. My Mars sign is Sagittarius. My Mercury sign is Sagittarius. And my Venus sign is in Scorpio. So I'm a little bit of a fireball. So the observations that I'm gonna be just talking about are, a lot of people might, even like before I even get into this, let me just say this, like with all due, what I'm saying, I know that I'm, a little on the youthful, part, but let's be honest. We all know I've done what I need to do my research wise. Everybody's not smart on this earth, and that's just a fact. But everybody's not as smart as people would think that they really. Anyway, so enough about the sun signs from you people. Let's get into the random observations. So the first thing I do want to talk about is, I don't know why, but Virgo moon. I feel like, well, I'm gonna wait on Virgo moon. So there is a difference between the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign. Your rising, I have to talk faster. Dang this, like I talk. Ugh. Your rising sign is your personality. It's how you interact with people. It's how you look at life. It's how you are creative, how you dress, how physically you look, your eyes. Your moon sign is not your gut instinct reaction. Don't ask how I got my credentials, but just know your moon sign is not like your instinct reaction. Your moon sign is what is what makes you personally happy. So if I have a moon in Libra, what makes me happy is peace. And I know it's kind of like a, Libra's associate, but truly, people don't know what peace is. Peace is not silence. Peace is not quiet. That's what peace people think. Peace is when people can stop being, bigoted and, I don't even know how to say that. But, you know what I'm saying? These people, but so your moon sign is kind of like not what you need, because I'll get into that. But your moon sign it's just like, it's kind of like your baby. So if your baby needs milk, not necessarily needs, but to be happy, if it needs, so this is just strictly on happiness. So moon sign is also, people associate moon sign with emotions because the moon sign is Cancer, but that's not what the moon sign does in astrology. So the moon sign, it just governs how you kind of react to things without out loud. So if I'm a moon in Cancer, but my rising sign is in Aries, I might be a little bit more because Aries is a very, you know what I'm saying? But since my moon in Cancer is different, I'm probably inside running and screaming and hiding and you know what I'm saying? So or like for example, like a Cancer moon might be really feel really really good with their parentals, you know what I'm saying? That's what makes them feel safe and happy. So that's kind of like the what the moon sign is. Ooh, that's what the moon sign is. Dang, I need to take this. I don't like this. Oh. The so the moon sign is basically, you know, it's kind of like a response, but it's a more internal response. Not always a gut instinct. Your gut instinct and your initial reaction is your rising sign. That's the sign that's the most obvious. When people say they look like a certain zodiac sign, that's most likely because something in your birth chart makes it more apparent that your sun sign is in a certain sign. So, for some of you who want to know, like, what is the sun? You know, like you talk a lot about, rising. You talk a lot about this and that. But what is the rising, or what is the sun? What does it mean? Because everybody's so obsessed with their sun sign. At one point, I'm gonna be honest, I was as well. I was not obsessed with my sun sign, but I'm just really natural in the way that I am. So my energy with it just didn't feel right. So I was I just kept questioning myself, like, am I really this? So I went through my phase of differences. So I understand that people don't want to listen to, whatever I have to say, whatever the case may be. But however, after all the shit that now I can finally open my mouth now. So, sorry. So the sun sign necessarily is about what you need. So it's not necessarily about what you need to make you happy, but what you need in order for you to grow. So if you want to put this in like let's say that your rising sign is a plant, right? So you need a plant your plant needs water and it needs sun. And both those, water and the water, I'm a perfectionist. That water and that sun equate to the rising sign. So if this is your sun and this is your rising sign, this is what you need in order for this to, you know what I'm saying? So okay, let's use Virgo moon. Let's use Virgo moon with a Virgo rising. So let's do Sagittarius rising, because I think I'm really familiar with Sagittarius risings. They're the most obvious. They're the ones that are usually the most popular ones, the most, attractive in a sense of like popularly attractive. So let's do a Sagittarius rising. So a Sagittarius rising, they don't necessarily have a love for, I don't know if they necessarily have a love for freedom. I haven't asked one before. From what I've known, that a lot of Sagittarians are very like restless. So a lot of Sagittarius risings, a lot of Sagittarians have a problem with like not doing anything, or like, so if their sun sign is, let's say their sun sign is in Pisces, they probably need to be a lot more, you know what I'm saying, a lot more flexible with themselves, because Sagittarius is actually a little bit more inflexible. Sagittarius is, like, I like Sagittarius, but Sagittarius, I don't know, my personal birth chart just doesn't mesh with Sagittarius. So some people I might, you know what I'm saying, if you're a healthy Sagittarian, but if you're a Sagittarius where you're the type of person where you're like, my sun sign is in Cancer, I'm a Cancer, you're not a healthy Sagittarius. So your sun sign is what you need to prosper. Like, so if a Cancer provides security, emotional security, safety, emotional, or create artistic expression. That's what they naturally have as far as their rising sign. So this is what they already naturally have. So if they're, I'm sorry. So that's what they would need. So if they're a Sagittarius rising, they probably need to be a little bit more calmer, because Cancer is the sun. So Cancer is a very homebody. It's a very calm sign. It's a very, it's not that they don't get excited, you know what I'm saying? But these people have a very harsh way of looking at life, opposed to the Pisceans and the Scorpions. The Pisceans get a lot of love. A lot of Pisces risings, Janae Aiko, who else can I think on the top? So a lot of the water risings get a lot of love and recognition. Actually, a lot of times, a lot of fire risings and a lot of water risings end up in relationships, because they both have a passionate nature that air signs and earth signs don't appreciate, if that makes sense. So, and then